So I am in Panggezhuang, which is a bit south of Beijing. And it's really, really cold. So I don't want to be out here too long. But I do want to mention that I needed to come here today because this is the China Watermelon Museum. It even looks like a giant watermelon. I had to come see that. Admission to the museum is 20 yuan, which is about $3 in American money. However, I couldn't actually pay at first. I wandered around the museum for about 20 minutes before I actually found somebody I could pay the money to. She was very nice, and she went and got me a ticket, and she told me where I could put my things while I walked around. She was even nice enough to turn on the lights for me. So that was a bit of an adventure itself. However, once I got in there, I noticed that it was actually a pretty interesting place. Most of the museum's exhibits were posters on the walls, statues, or wax watermelons. There are no real watermelons in the museum. Of course there weren't. It's the middle of winter. There aren't any real watermelons in the museum for the same reason that there aren't any people coming to see them. It's cold. However, this region, the Daxing region, actually produces a lot of watermelons every year. People eat a lot of watermelons in China. In fact, China produces about 80 million tons of watermelons annually. That's 2/3 of all the watermelons produced in the world. Now, the Chinese name for watermelon is Xigua, which means Western melon. That actually makes sense considering its original origin. The earliest known ancestor of the modern watermelon was in Africa about 5,000 years ago. That developed and came up through the Mediterranean countries about 4,000 years ago, and then got to China in about 900 AD. They have a lot of exhibits showing watermelons in ancient times and in modern day. This shows a clear progression of how watermelons have been used over the years. They even have one exhibit that shows how they are in space. This is a real thing that happened. Not with watermelons, but with watermelon seeds. They took a bunch of watermelon seeds and they put them on a Chinese satellite. They let the seeds orbit the Earth for a couple of weeks, and then they brought them back down and planted them. They had several hundred watermelon plants from these seeds. Apparently the crop came out so-so. Now today, they actually have a lot of competitions with watermelons. These competitions include things like growing the biggest watermelons, watermelon eating competitions, watermelon carving competitions. You know, if you've ever been to a county fair, it's that kind of thing. The carving can actually get very elaborate. They can make Chinese lanterns out of the watermelon gourds, or they can have little festivals around them. There's been festivals in this area, the Daxing area, that have been just absolutely huge and had tons of people filling a football field, all carving watermelons. Watermelon seeds are very important too. On holidays, like Chinese New Year's, they eat the watermelon seeds. They call it cracking the watermelon seeds because you have to use your teeth to really get into them. This started during the Ming Dynasty, but then in the Qing Dynasty, people started eating pumpkin seeds as well, and now they eat sunflower seeds also. This is something that's very popular in the north of China because supposedly it gets so cold that you really can't go out much, so they don't really have much else to do. Okay, so final impressions. I did really like the museum. It's interesting. It's got a lot of cool stuff about watermelons and people who like watermelons. The only comment is I would really like it if they heated more of the rooms than just the bathroom. Other than that, it was really nice.